Adult Solutions. Add-on Desires.
Hello viewers, welcome to Adult Solutions Daily Current Affairs. I am Lokesh Pengonda. This session is designed mainly for aspirants preparing for banking, groups and such other competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Make use of it. So our first article is dealing with the shrimp certification. To increase the shrimp exports from India, the central government has brought in a new scheme. This new scheme is named as Shabhari. Shabhari is the new scheme launched by the central government. It is launched through the organization MPEDA. It stands for Marine Products Export Development Authority. So this MPEDA or the Marine Products Export Development Authority has brought in the scheme Shabhari to increase the shrimp export from India. So what are the components of the scheme and how is the scheme aiming to increase the shrimp exports from India? Through the scheme, the MPEDA plans to certify hatcheries supplying quality seeds. So the first component of the scheme is to certify the hatcheries providing quality seeds. Next is to approve the shrimp farms, which are working as per the good practices. So by certifying the hatcheries which provide fish seeds and by certifying and approving the shrimp farms which are working with good practices, it aims to increase the shrimp exports from the country. Also, as we are talking about the shrimp production and shrimp exports, we should know the relevant data. Nearly $5 billion worth shrimp has been exported from India in the year 2020, and shrimp exports account for 50% of quantity of seafood exports, and also it accounts for nearly 73% of the total money which the people are earning through the seafood exports. So you can see here it is a huge amount which is earned by shrimp exports. And also you should note that the states of Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Odisha and Gujarat are the major shrimp producing and exporting states. And also 95% of the shrimps which are produced in the country are mainly used for exporting purposes. So Andhra Pradesh is the largest shrimp exporter from the country, and second is West Bengal, third is Odisha and fourth is the Gujarat. Next we have an article which is dealing with the Personal Data Protection Bill. So in the year 2017 we have saw a landmark judgment of the Supreme Court. So what was this judgment? In the case of Justice Puttaswamy, who is a retired justice, versus Union of India. In this case, the Supreme Court has stated, or the Supreme Court, it has given the judgment that right to privacy is a fundamental right. So it has stated that right to privacy is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution, which provides for the right to life. So under Article 21, which is right to life, the Supreme Court in this judgment stated that even the right to privacy will come under right to life, and it will be a fundamental right. So Puttaswamy judgment gave the right to privacy as a fundamental right, and as the Supreme Court has stated that right to privacy is a fundamental right, the government through the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So this is a ministry in the government. So this is also called as MeitY. So after the judgment, the MeitY has set up a committee under Justice B.N. Sri Krishna. So B.N. Sri Krishna committee was set up by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology so as to provide recommendations to create or to bring a data protection law. And in the same year, the Justice B.N. Sri Krishna led committee has provided the draft data protection bill. So this draft data protection bill was brought by the Justice Sri Krishna led committee, which was set up by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and the recommendations of the draft data protection bill were taken by the government, and with some alterations it has brought the personal data protection bill. Whatever recommendations the B.N. Sri Krishna led committee has provided, these recommendations are taken and being used for the bringing up of the personal data protection bill. So this is the main crux of this article. Next we have an article where it was stated earlier this week that US naval vessel has entered the India's exclusive economic zone without taking the prior permission from the Indian government. So the United States naval vessel called the 7th Fleet has entered India's exclusive economic zone near Lakshadweep Islands without taking India's prior permission. Now we'll see what exclusive economic zone mean. From the shore to the 12 next nautical miles, it will be coming under the territorial sea, and whereas from the shore till the next 200 nautical miles, it will be covered under the exclusive economic zone. So let's say this is the land and this is the sea. So from the baseline of the land till the next 12 nautical miles, it will be called as a territorial sea. Whereas from the land to the next 200 nautical miles, it will be called as exclusive economic zone. So it is 12 nautical miles plus 188 more nautical miles which will be under the exclusive economic zone. So what is the importance of the exclusive economic zone? Whatever resources, let's say oil, gas, precious metals, which may be found in the exclusive economic zone, these resources will only be claimed by the country to which the exclusive economic zone belongs to. So let's say this is the Bay of Bengal, and from the shoreline to the next 200 nautical miles is India's exclusive economic zone. So whatever natural resources which we find in this region, these all resources can only be claimed by India. So it has huge significance for the country, and also apart from the ownership of resources, the country will also have some territorial jurisdiction, some jurisdiction in this exclusive economic zone. So not only you have ownership, but also you have some kind of jurisdiction over this exclusive economic zone. And according to the UNCLOS, which is United Nations Convention on Law of the Seas, according to the UN Convention of Law of the Seas, exclusive economic zone will be 200 nautical miles from the country's baseline. And the UN clause also have a provision which stated that a country's prior permission might not be needed to enter this territory. So let's say this was the Bay of Bengal and this was the exclusive economic zone. We have seen here till the 200 nautical miles, and there was a clause in the United Nations CLOS which stated that other country, if it wants to pass through the exclusive economic zone, it might not need the domestic country's prior permission. So United States have used this provision to enter the India's exclusive economic zone, whereas India does not agree with this exception. So this is regarding the exclusive economic zone. As we are talking about the UNCLOS, or the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, we should know in which year it was set up. This was set up in the year 1982, and also you should remember that India is a member of the UNCLOS, that is, India signed and ratified this convention. Our next article is talking about the NSCNIM. So it stands for National Socialist Council of Nagaland. IM stands for Isaac Muva faction. So what is NSCNIM? It is a armed separatist organization mainly working in the northeastern part of the country and mainly in the state of Nagaland. So this organization main aim or objective is to form Greater Nagalim. So what does Greater Nagalim mean? The organization states that all Naga inhabiting territories should come under this, and it should be made a separate country. So this was the major objective of NSIN. Nagas are a Christian ethnic group mainly residing in the states of Nagaland, Assam, and also in the bordering areas of the country of the Myanmar. And this separatist armed organization was banned by the government. It was banned by the government and it was tagged as a terrorist organization by the government through Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. And after huge struggle between the armed forces of the Indian government and the NSIN, finally there was a ceasefire agreement between the Indian government forces and the separatist forces, and currently from the last 2 decades or so, this organization and the Indian government is under negotiations to give greater autonomy to the people of Naga. So NSCN is a separatist organization mainly working in the state of Nagaland and its neighboring territories. Next, we have an article where it is stated that the central government has stopped the exports or banned the exports of the drug remdesivir. So what is the drug remdesivir? It is a antiviral drug which is mainly used earlier for the treatment of Ebola. And later, when we have the COVID pandemic, the researchers have found that this drug is also effective on the COVID virus. So it is currently being used in the treatment of the COVID virus. As the number of cases of the COVID in the country are increasing, the government has banned the export of the remdesivir so that domestic supply can be improved in the country. So this was a drug which was invented or made by the firm Gilead Sciences. This is a US firm, and this drug was developed in the year 2014 when Ebola was mainly on the rise in the African continent. Next, we have an article which is stating that a suspicious blackout has hit Iran's nuclear site. We have seen in the last few current affairs sessions that Iran government and the United States government are in the discussion of returning back to the Iranian nuclear deal. This deal is being opposed by the country of Israel, and to derail the process of returning to the Iranian nuclear deal, Israeli forces, mainly the Mossad, which is an intelligence agency of Israel, is said to have taken a cyber attack on the Iranian nuclear facility. And what is this Iranian nuclear facility which came under the attack of the Mossad? It is Natanz. So Natanz is an underground nuclear facility of Iran, whereas Mossad is Israeli intelligence agency. As we are talking about the nuclear sites and the nuclear weapons, we should know which country have the highest nuclear weapons and what are the other countries which have nuclear weapons in the world. So there is a report given by the SIPRI. So what does SIPRI stands for? It stands for Stockholm Institute of Peace Research Organization. So this organization called the SIPRI provides data relevant to the nuclear weapons in the world, and according to it, in the year of 2020, these are the number of nuclear weapons and these are the countries who has these nuclear weapons. So Russia is the largest Russia has the largest amount of nuclear weapons currently, and USA has the second largest. So third is the China, fourth is the France, fifth is the United Kingdom, sixth is the Pakistan, which has just 10 more nuclear weapons than India. And next we have the countries of Israel and the North Korea. And also you can see in this image, there has been a reduction in the number of nuclear weapons in the world from year 2019 to 2020. So these are the various countries which have nuclear weapons according to the SIPRI report. Next we have an article in which the US government has asking the countries in the world to have a same or unique tax rate. we know that tax rate in a country is set up or brought by the governments of the own country. So Indian government will provide the tax rate which will be applicable in the country of India. Similarly, US government will provide tax rate for the United States. So what we have is different tax rates in different countries, and due to differences in the tax rates in various countries, the MNCs or the multinational corporations are able to send these profits to the lowest taxing country. So let's say in India the taxation rate is 32%, and let's say that in the country of Bahrain the tax rate is 3%. So if a MNC is able to transfer its profits from the Indian country to the Bahrain, it will be able to get at least 29% reduction in the tax rates. So let's say if a MNC is getting profits of 100 crore in India, then it would have to pay 32 crores, because in India 32% is the tax rate, whereas if the same MNC is transferring these taxes to the country of Bahrain, which has only 3% of tax rate, then even though the country is transferring 100 crores, it will only have to pay 3 crores as the tax. So it will save nearly 29 crores. So what we see is that many MNCs are transferring their profits from the countries which are charging high taxes to the countries which have zero or very low taxes. So which are the countries which charge very less taxes? There are countries such as Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Bahrain, British Virgin Islands. In these countries, the effective tax rate is less than 3%. So all the MNCs who wants to save their money are transferring the money from highest tax paying countries to very low tax paying countries. So what we see is that the countries like India and USA and other European countries which have higher tax rates, that is nearly 20% or more than 20%, they are losing revenue due to the transferring of profits from these countries to the countries which are charging very less. Due to this reason, the United States is asking every country in the world to have a same tax rate policy, and the United States is asking all the countries to take the tax rate as 21%. So it is asking every country to charge only 21% as effective tax rate on all corporates, so that there won't be any transferring of money, so that there won't be any loss of the revenue to those governments. Next, we have a sports related article where it is stated that Miss Rachel Blackmore has made history by becoming the first woman jockey to win the steeplechase award, steeplechase related Grand National Award of Britain. So she created a world history. She created a world record by becoming the first woman jockey ever to win a Grand National Award of Britain in the steeplechase category of the horses. So these are various news articles that we have taken which could help in the examination. So, and with this we have come to the end of the session. Inform about this ADOTS initiative to your other aspirant friends. Thank you.
Add-on solutions. Add-on desires.